Grassroots Analytics Insider. We're talking to Ben today about a recent trip he went on through our company Grassroots to a NOLS adventure, and we can't wait to hear all about it.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Hey, Ben, can you tell us what NOLS is?
I mean, I can try. Yeah.
Okay.
So NOLS stands for National Outdoor Leadership School. They are technically a nonprofit. They've been who runs these trips / expeditions to different wilderness areas around the world. They've been around for quite a while. I'm actually not sure when they were founded, probably like 50s or 60s.
Gotcha.
But they essentially, run these different lengths, different areas, trips, courses where they teach you how to do wild living and how to do, like, they teach you a lot of technical skills, and then they teach you a lot of like how to be they have an emphasis on leadership too, like leadership skills,
Gotcha.
different things like that. So anyways, they do a lot of expeditions.
Okay, cool. And so who are these expeditions available to?
They're available to everyone. There's different ones. So there's some that are like 18 plus reserved, some that are specific age ranges, like 15 to 16.
Sure.
There's like 21 and up. There's all these different ones, but they're open to anyone.
Gotcha. So tell us where you went.
So I went to the Wind River Mountain Range in Wyoming. It's part of the Rocky Mountains. It's like one of the larger ranges in Wyoming, which is like the eastern part of the state, or the western part of the state. And it's basically this area of mountains, part of which are in a Indian reservation, the rest of which go right through the Continental Divide.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, a bunch of mountains. The largest peak there, I don't know the elevation, but it's Gannett Peak.
Okay.
And we were backpacking for 7 days through them.
Wow. Okay. So what is your top takeaway from this experience?
I would say my top takeaway would be a couple things. So I think number one is the technical skills of just being outdoors. I'm an outdoorsy person. I love hiking. I've camped my whole life. But I have never done anything more than like 2 to 3 days of like...
7 days is much different.
7 days is much different. Also 7 days in the backcountry. So like I'd done max like at night in the backcountry before. I'd never actually done like way more than that, like no civilization, like days from a hospital kind of situation. So I think my biggest takeaway from that was like just the technical skills of doing that. So like how to purify water correctly, how to find a good place to camp, how to set up tents properly, how to set up a kitchen, how to deal with bears and food around bears. Then I'd say the other part of it is more of like a general learning, which was just like how important, like how much easier that trip was made thanks to like very serious preparation, is something that I think like I personally have really taken away from the experience. Like preparation is like a very important thing in my life, especially when it's like surrounding something as like big as a 7-day backpacking trip. Preparation every single day and preparation before the trip made it so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so much risk you're taking on with 7 days in the backcountry that like obviously you have to prepare if you want to mitigate those risks and make sure that you're going to be safe on the other end.
I was very lucky that obviously NOLS takes so much of that preparation out of your hands to begin with. Like it's amazing how well organized these trips are. Like the gear lists are super comprehensive. They answer every question.
Sure.
But then also like even more specifically, like I found myself in the first few nights making so many mistakes of like what I left in my pack, what I left in the kitchen versus what I had in my tent.
Gotcha.
Being things that like were all mixed up. So like I would find myself making trips from the kitchen, which is some time away from the tents because of food smells. You don't want those to mix in.
Absolutely.
Making trips like from the kitchen to the tent because I left my water purifier, and then I left this over there and I needed to sleep. And it was just like I probably lost like an hour to 2 hours in the first couple nights because of just having to move throughout all these areas.
Right.
But by the end, I had it down to a science. So I think like also preparation was like in a large scale before the trip, and then preparing like specifically night to night, like what needs to go where.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like that is just an extremely specific example of you learning by doing. Like by night 3, you were down on lock. It was fine.
Yeah.
Amazing. So now that you went through this experience with NOLS and like with all the guidance and preparation kind of laid out for you, do you think it's something you could do by yourself?
Yeah, I think so yes, I think I could do this on my own as long as I had not solo, but I could do this without NOLS. Like I think a lot of the skills that I learned are like going to be applicable everywhere, like bear hangs, how you deal with your food, which is essentially like you just all of the food that you bring with you needs to be placed somewhere that the bears or any other animal can't really get into. So like you have to find a good branch, do a certain knot, tie it up to 10 feet up in the air. That stuff I could totally do on my own. I could totally find a camp now. I can purify water. But I do think doing all of that alone is a skill that I don't quite have yet.
Yeah.
Like and you need a lot of hands to do some of this.
Absolutely. But team effort.
Yeah. But I think I could do it on my own. Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, that's really exciting.
Yeah.
So this was a trip that was set up by our company Grassroots in order to get people out, away from technology with other people who care about the earth and care about leadership and learning from one another, and to kind of, get you in a position where you could learn leadership skills outside of a corporate office. So what were your expectations around that going into this trip?
Yeah, I would say that I was expecting being away from my phone to be more of a central part of the trip for me. Like I was expecting that, like being, I don't think I've been away from my phone for more than like a day.
Right.
For the past like probably 50, probably like 10 years at least. And so I expected it to be like, wow, this is groundbreaking. But honestly, I barely even thought about my phone while I was there.
Yeah.
And I think that's partly because I was in like this super beautiful area. Like everything was so stunning. And every morning I woke up to like amazing sunrises and got to swim in lakes and stuff. So like, it wasn't like I had time to be bored and to be like, wow, I need my phone. Right. But I also think that being said, a lot of the things that happen in the trip, in retrospect, I can really tie down to being without a phone. Like, I think that the whole group bonded a lot in the trip. We had really good conversations. I got to know like a lot about a lot of my course mates.
Sure.
And I think a lot of that would have been, those conversations wouldn't have happened if we had our phones. Because when you're hiking or like you're just at camp and someone else is cooking, for example, and you don't have anything to do, if you want some sort of stimulus that comes from talking to people, you're like, okay, I'm really bored right now. I would like to do something.
Let's start a chit chat.
That becomes a chit chat, right? And like, it sounds very basic, but it was like seriously from the very beginning, I felt like the conversations were there.
Well, then tell us about these trip mates who you were with. Give us the rundown.
Yeah. Okay. So it was 12 of us. The whole course was 12 people, 12 course mates, and then 2 instructors.
Okay.
So the instructors were amazing. I'll start there. The instructors were incredible. One of them has been doing this, I think, 20 plus years. Wow. The other one had been doing this, I want to say, like, had been doing outdoors his whole life, or most of it, but had been doing NOLS courses probably like, I want to say 5 or 6. I might be wrong about that.
Okay, so lots of experience.
Lots of experience. And they were like someone in their element. Like when you saw these people, like the amount of information and knowledge that they had about every like plant, tree, like environment was incredible. So those were like our guides or instructors. And then other than that, it was 12 of us.
Okay.
Age ranges was all the way from late 30s to late 30s, like parents and stuff.
Yeah.
To recent grads from high school, 18. So this was like 18 plus people really all across the age spectrum.
Gotcha.
And it was six, so 6 guys and then 6 gals, I believe.
Gotcha. And so did you find anyone that was like similar to you in terms of like working background?
Yeah, actually, yeah, there was a couple folks who like were either just were studying political science and stuff, and like we're close to graduating from college. There's a couple other people who I think worked in like adjacent stuff, but certainly no one else in the fundraising space and
Absolutely.
Political fundraising space.
Were other people sent there by their jobs, or was it more of a personal elective?
Yeah, it was mostly personal, but it was like a mix about like where the funding came from for a lot of people.
Oh, interesting.
So like
Okay.
there was like some AmeriCorps folks. AmeriCorps has this like NOLS lets you pay for it with some AmeriCorps benefit sometimes.
Gotcha.
And then there were people who like were using some of their wellness stipends from work to pay for these courses.
Interesting.
Some people got scholarships through NOLS. NOLS offers some scholarships. Other people did it through school. So kind of a mix. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I would say I think I was the only 100% funded through work. I haven't heard of a lot of other workplaces that offer like NOLS as a completely funded activity.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is really exciting because it really speaks to what Grassroots like wants you to get out of it, and taking an interesting use of your time not at our office.
Yeah.
Can you get into what your average day looked like, and just talk about like, you know, how the group worked together, what was expected of you during, you know, the 7-day hike?
Yeah, so I think it's like an important thing about NOLS, I think, to keep in mind is that like they make a very intentional effort to remind people of this, but it's also like you can tell as soon as you start that this is not a like tour guided trip. Right. This is not like you're going out to the mountains with people that like are just gonna carry stuff for you and choose your paths and stuff. This is like a self-led activity for the people who go on these courses, kind of. Obviously there's instructors. Nothing you do is without the instructors like help or approval, but a lot of it is up to you. But yeah, the regular day was like, okay, so like 6:30 a.m. we would wake up. We'd pack personal items, tear tents down, and then head over to the kitchen around 6:45 or 7.
Gotcha.
By then we were cooking breakfast and making any lunch that we would want on that day's hike, trail. And then we'd eat, clean our pots, pans, however we could. We bring a little bit of soap, but then you also just use like sticks and things to clean it up. But actually, they do a great job of keeping it clean. And then by 9 a.m. we had kitchen torn down, packs completely ready to go. And then we usually, every day, there's 2 people who are picked to be designated leaders. So those are like students.
Okay.
And they make sure every day, it's a changing role. They make sure that everything that needs to be done is done on time. They're kind of like the people who are deciding when things need to get done with the course instructors. And then they have and know the route for the day, which they've worked out with the instructors, like either the day prior or that morning. And so then we'd split into 2 groups and meet with our leaders. The leaders would walk us through the route, show us the maps. We'd like ask any questions, like what to expect for the day, mileage, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I'd say around 10 a.m. most days we started the hike.
Okay.
I think I think we hiked about 25 miles or so over really 5 days of hiking, because both days on either side we didn't do that much hiking, so like 5 miles a day or so.
Yeah.
Was the average. And we'd start hiking at 10, probably arrive at 3 p.m. to our target area, scout for a good camping spot, scout for water, scout for all the things that you need.
Yeah.
Set up tents, set up kitchen, cook around 5. and then everything packed up and stuff by 7 for our evening meeting, which was like sitting around the fire and going over some lessons and stuff.
Yeah.
And then bedtime was around 9:30 or 10:30, so it was really go. There was very little downtime.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then do it all again the next day.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. How far away from the like tents and camping site is the kitchen?
So the rule of thumb that we were told, at least, is 75 paces.
Oh wow. Okay.
So like 75 like steps essentially, which I am not sure. I should know what that usually translates to.
Yeah, but it's like I don't know, maybe half a football field.
Yeah, it's like exactly something like that. It's a few hundred yards for sure.
Yeah.
So we would always be around 75 paces from that, and then we would want the kitchen to be 75 paces from water.
Okay.
We don't want all of your food going into these clean water sources that anyone hiking the Wind River Mountain Range is using to drink.
Right.
You also want to keep yourself kind of removed because a lot of hikers will go to the water, so you want your tents to not be like right there.
Yeah.
And then kitchen has to be away from your sleep area so that you don't attract any wildlife.
So is this like a big triangle, or is it like water a lot in the kitchen and then the
depends on the area.
Yeah.
So we had times where it was like big lake.
Yeah.
So then like we would just go like east-west for the kitchen and camp area. But sometimes the water source is just like a creek.
Right.
And so we'd go like kitchen closer to the water and then tents further away.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really, it was like wherever could accommodate like 5 tents.
Yeah.
That's where we would place the tents.
Yeah.
And then figure out the kitchen from there.
And so how many folks are in a tent? Were you?
Three.
Yeah.
So 3 people to a tent.
Gotcha.
Pretty spacious.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Okay. So I know that you like to listen to music. Was there any music on this trip?
No music.
Oh. And how was that?
Yeah, that was probably the only thing that I missed.
Yeah.
By the end, that I was like, okay, it would be nice to have my phone just for this. I remember when we got picked up after the 7 days and we're like going in the bus ride back to Riverton. Like the bus that we were on had like pretty loud country music playing, and it just like it sounded so good. All of those songs sounded so good. But I mean, yeah, it was nice, I guess, to be like completely information free for some time.
Absolutely.
But I did miss music.
Yeah, I thought you might.
That one was the hardest.
So in terms of like what you got out of this trip, about leadership, lessons that you want to take into your work life, into your everyday life, into your personal life, do you have any like specific leadership takeaways?
I was thinking a little bit about this before. And the thing that came to mind was like that my best days were the days that the leaders were very clear as to what I could expect to see the day, or like set expectations very clearly the night before of when things should happen. The worst day was a day when we were told that it was an easy hike. And the whole class was like amazing. Like we did a very long hike. Some have blisters. Like the day before, like this should be easy. They were like, it should be mostly downhill, a little bit of elevation, and then there was like 3 hours of steep incline. Oh, and then like 2 hours, like maybe 1 hour of flat. So like there was really it was just like the incorrect expectations were set. Yeah. And that weighed on all of us mentally because we were going up and being told like we should be done soon. Right. And then there was like 2 hours of going uphill still left. Right. So how that translates into leadership, I think it's that the similar principles apply elsewhere. Like if you set the wrong expectations to people, it's not just going to make them like maybe physically unable to perform, but also like mentally you think that you're done with a task when maybe you're not. Absolutely. And preparing for like a grueling time ahead is fine if you have the heads up. So absolutely. I think as a leader, like I would try to do that too.
Yeah. Oh, that makes so much sense.
Maps are hard to read. these topographical maps, so the maps that we were using, are a 2D representation of the 3D world. So they do their best at showing elevation through lines. Each line means 40 feet of elevation change.
Gotcha.
And you have to take context clues to know whether that's up or down. Depending on how close they are together, that determines like the steepness of it. So all of that, all of that together makes it a little challenging to know for certain how it's going to look. And then distances, even though it might look like a mile, the trails may have shifted in a way where you zigzag more or go through an area before, so that adds time. It's just harder to keep yourself, or like what happened on, I think that day was that we were keeping different mountains and lakes as like good guides as to where we were, but we had the wrong mountain and lake. We thought we were way further than we were.
Gotcha.
What happened was like, oh, we're here. We've been hiking for like 2 hours. We opened the map. We're like, we just saw a mountain on our left. Oh, 2 hours. We're probably here.
Yeah.
And that just like was selection bias. Like if we would have like just opened and like really taken a look as to what have we actually seen, we would have realized that we were like, this was a slower hike than anyone thought. Yeah. So we just like, we had the wrong, it's hard to read maps. Trails change and you just have to be ready for that.
Gotcha.
And
so this is like true backcountry hiking, right? There's not like, it's not like a, big towpath, like easy hiking, car camping. So what do the trails actually look like? Is it like, are they paved before, not paved, but are there like actually trails through these mountains, or are you kind of like bushwhacking, really taking a best guess?
For a good chunk of it, there's trails. The trails are thin and have been made by people walking through them for a long time.
Gotcha.
And also I heard like a lot of them are made because of horses. Horses. It takes a lot of humans to pave a trail. It doesn't take that many horses. So wherever the horses have been kind of become trails, that then like that's where people went. So there's a good train of thought to think, okay, this is a safe way for me to go.
Right.
If the horses and people went up, then I can probably go up.
Right, sure.
But there was some bushwhacking too. There was some areas where like the trail was not. It was like I would hesitate to call it a trail, but none of it was like everything. Like none of it was like middle of nowhere woods. There was some form of trail and past presence.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was altitude a factor in this hike?
Yeah. Definitely. Altitude. So I grew up in a town that's up in the mountains, like that has very high elevation.
Sure.
In southern Mexico. So I didn't feel super. Like I think some people felt it more than others.
Yeah.
But I believe our highest elevation point was 10,500 feet.
Wow.
Or 10,600 or something.
Yeah.
There was one day where we gained like maybe 1,000 of those feet at once, or 1,200, and that was challenging.
Big difference. Yeah.
And then there was one day where we went down like 1,200 feet, like of decline.
Wow.
And the temperature changes in both were obviously something that affected people, but then also just like lung capacity, like hand swelling, stuff like that can happen.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't like extreme altitude, so like very easy to get used to. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So we got really lucky. I've heard the winds can be a really mosquito-y place. Like it can be really bad in June, July. August tends to be way better. We got lucky this August. Like I got one mosquito bite.
Wow.
Throughout the whole thing.
Pretty good.
I saw one mosquito. So I think the elevation doesn't affect the mosquitoes, but we got lucky. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I want to talk a little bit about like fear and your comfort zone. So what do you think it means to go out of your comfort zone?
I think yeah, going out of your comfort zone is it's very important. It's just like I guess we're comfortable in things that we've done before.
Sure.
The things like that we're used to is where like you become comfortable in something because you've done it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
You feel like you can do it. Stepping out of your comfort zone for me is like doing new things that you've never done before.
Absolutely.
And not knowing for certain beforehand whether you'll be able to.
Right.
And yeah, so that's what I would think that is like stepping out.
Gotcha. And so on this trip, did you have a moment where you were like, wow, I was like reflecting back on it right after it's over, where you were like, wow, I was really scared in that moment?
Yeah. So there were a couple moments. One of them was after the first day of hiking. So we drove out the first day. We drove up on Monday at like, we left maybe like 2 or 3 and drove 2 hours to our trailhead.
Mm-hmm.
And these are like backcountry roads. Like they're not paved.
Sure.
It's like rocks. Like the bus is like shaking. 2 hours in there. And then the next morning we wake up and we hike like 7 or 8 miles, which is like, we started probably at 10:30 and we reached camp at like 4. So
it's all day.
5 to 6 hours of hiking. And so like we get to our first campsite and I'm like, that's the first time it hit me that I was like, I'm a 6-hour hike and 2-hour drive from any town right now.
Yeah.
Which if you think about it, yeah, that's 8 hours.
That's crazy.
Whether
yeah,
maybe you can make it in 4 if you leave your bags and don't take breaks.
Right.
And that there's no guarantee that like at that place, that town has a hospital that is not an extra 30 to 45 minutes away.
Yeah.
So like you can safely assume that you are like at least 7 to 8 hours from any hospital.
Yeah.
And that was the first time that it sunk in, was when I was going to bed the first night.
Yeah.
Or second night out in the field, because I was like, there are no cars. There's no faster way to get there. If something were to happen,
you're walking.
We would need to walk and then get picked up and then drive. So it wouldn't. That was the first moment of, wow, okay, we really got to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Yeah.
Like preparation is really important. Obviously, it made me feel really good that I had such amazing guides that had done this for so long.
Absolutely.
If anything went wrong, I knew that they would be there for me.
Right.
But that was certainly the first time that I was like, wow, this is definitely out of my comfort zone.
Absolutely. That's a huge realization.
Yeah.
Did your guides have like those emergency like phones that work on satellite?
Yeah. So yes, they had that. We also had GPSs. The GPSs are not like your phone GPS. It's not like it like shows you the map trail and stuff. It just gives you coordinates and then you have a map.
Right.
And with the map you can track. So like if anything were to happen, people could very easily find us.
Absolutely.
And I mean, worst case scenario, NOLS will, like they'll airlift you out of somewhere if something really happened.
Yeah.
But the instructors are so good at wilderness medicine that hopefully that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you recommend this trip to other people, either, in your personal life or other people at Grassroots?
Yeah, absolutely. I will say, I do think that this is probably not everyone's cup of tea.
Yeah.
I think like bringing one pair of clothes, like learning how to wash off on a river, like all of those things, cooking in the wilderness are not going to be for everyone.
Sure.
But I think that if you have any like interest in going but are only hesitating because it sounds maybe a little difficult or unknown, like you should 1000% do it. It was
great.
It was so fun. Part of what comes with the only one pair of clothes and washing in the river is views that most people don't get because they are in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
So for me, that is totally worth the trade-off.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like a question for everyone whether the trade-off will be worth it. Sure. But I would totally recommend that everyone does it. The technical skills, I think, will like forever stay with me.
Yeah.
And the people that I met in the course were so unique. And being without your phone is, I think, a good reminder to everyone when you're out there. They like, your phone is not everything.
Yeah.
So I would say that like, if anyone is like thinking about it, but are not sure, they should just do it. It was so fun.
Gotcha. Are there any other like lessons or takeaways, besides the technical skills and the leadership skills that you want to highlight?
Yeah, I think I wasn't expecting cooking. I think one of the surprises was had the emphasis in cooking. The NOLS is like has a reputation in the outdoor like leadership school space. There's like a few of these like NOLS. NOLS is definitely the most established, but there's some others. Sure. NOLS has a reputation for like being very cook heavy. Like they do pantry style, which means like you're bringing a bunch of rations like beans, rice, hash browns, bagels, cheese, flour to make dough, like all of this food that you then learn to actually cook and make taste good in the wilderness.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that to be one of my favorite parts of the course, but it certainly became it. Like every morning, like cooking some actually tasty food.
Yeah.
There's also like fuel, but the tasted great was super fun, and it's something that I'll keep doing. One of the days we made pizza. We learned how to make pizza in the outdoors.
Wow.
Which was really fun.
How did that happen? Yeah.
Yeah. No. So you bring like fry pan, like a nonstick fry pan.
Right.
And then
not cast iron. Right?
It's not cast iron. No.
That'd be real heavy.
That would be very heavy. Yeah. And yeah, you just like, you make the dough with water, flour, and this like dough mix thing.
Probably yeast.
Yeah.
There's not much that goes into pizza dough.
No, and then you just like make this. Yeah, you just throw the bread in some oil and then fry both sides, and then you put. We brought tomato sauce, or like made our own with like powder tomato sauce, and everyone brings cheese on these courses. And,
gotcha.
Yep, it was very good.
Foraging?
We did not forage, but we did eat some berries on the way. No berries without the permission of our instructors, but we did eat blueberries.
Wow.
And green onion. We found a green onion.
Wow. Like wild green onion. Interesting.
Yeah, it was very good. Backcountry cooking is like so unique because you just throw everything in the pan to an extent, and are like more cheese because like you need to burn off, so you're going to be burning so many calories. You like need to get a lot of food in you. But I do think this would probably be my preferred way of camping, would be like actually spend time making food taste good. It makes your pack heavier. The packs are pretty heavy, but it's, I think in my experience, it's better than the freeze-dried meals
that just add hot water too.
Which very convenient for through hikers. But after a few days, those could just become very tiresome.
Absolutely.
A surprising thing for me was how like easy, like it was so much easier to stay clean out there than people like realize. Or like, okay, I think a lot of today's like we've gotten used to our cleaning products, like excessive cleaning to an extent. In my mind, like all of these like different cleaners for everything is like, being out there is such a good reminder that like you really don't need all that. Like you can stay clean. You like people have that not everyone and like not every culture has the same like 17 cleaners for different things. Like a lot of people used to live in the outdoors in those mountains way before we got here, and they weren't dirty. Like they kept themselves clean and somehow. So I think my hot take is like that your body can do more than you think, but like you don't need all these different cleaners. Like sometimes you just need, like you can figure it out. You can clean your dish with some rocks
and you stick fine.
You're gonna be fine.
You're not gonna get sick.
And it's a good reminder that like we're not as fragile as we think we are.
We're overcomplicated.
And I think partly it's like when you have all of these different like all of this marketing for the different things and like how you need them. It's like it convinces you that you're fragile and that because I need to clean this a specific way. This brand is telling me that I have to clean this with this, otherwise I will get sick.
Yeah.
And it's like it convinces you that if you don't do it this way, you're like you will be sick.
Right.
Which means that you're fragile. Without this external thing, you can't survive. But like you could keep yourself out there you could make it work so much easier. Yeah.
Wow.
That was cool.
I really like that.
Like cheese. We brought blocks of cheese for 7 days, not refrigerated, like in our.
And it was fine. Did it not?
It was fine. No.
Wow.
And like
it feels moldy in my fridge.
People freak out about it. I left it I'm like, I'm like this. Like, this is why it was a huge reminder to me. It was like, I Google like left sandwich out for 2 or 3 hours. Like, can still safe to eat. And it's like, dude, I was keeping rice and beans like in non-refrigerated, cooked it at 5 p.m., had leftovers and ate it the next day at like 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. Like almost 24 hours of unrefrigerated rice and beans in the wilderness, and was totally fine. But it was so fun. My mom did NOLS.
No way.
Yeah. That's why I decided to do it.
That's really special.
Yeah. She went to Baja. She did a semester though.
Whoa.
Like a school. Yeah. So like 3 months, a school semester in Baja.
Is that the sailing one or was?
Yeah. So it's 1 month sailing, 1 month kayaking, 1 month backpacking.
That's intense.
Yeah. Do you want to see photos?
Oh my God. Yeah. At Grassroots, we really run our organization centered around a values-driven mission, as well as 6 pillars that help us actually enact that mission and really guide us forward with the work we do, as well as how we support our staff and our teams, doing this work and impacting the world. So if you had to kind of talk about how this trip and this leadership experience and what you learned fits into a pillar, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say, I think the obvious one is it's the climb. But I would also say like that one actually captures it quite well. I think most of us who signed up for this course didn't sign up to be like in the kitchen and then in our tents.
Right.
We signed up because of the backpacking and the views backpacking.
Absolutely.
And that was the hiking. So I think the hike was totally like it was the trip. The best parts of the trip were when we were walking and going through that process, way more than like when we actually reached the base.
Right.
And I think it was whenever we had that reminder to ourselves, like, oh my God, look at how beautiful what we're walking through is.
Right.
It made all the pain and grueling 50-pound packs and walking and uncertainty like kind of dissipate or like make it worth it, because we were like, well, this is what we signed up for to an extent. And everything that we're learning and everything that we're gaining from this experience like makes any like potential pain on the way so worth it.
Right.
So in almost every day, the best part was the climb.
Yeah. The journey is the reward, I have to say. Wow. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us, Ben. I am thrilled by your stellar review and recommendation of the NOLS trip, and I'm really excited to see how you bring these leadership skills and ideas and just a very interesting, like, new perspective to the team here at Grassroots.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.